So today I want to talk about two of my most favorite things. And if you guessed it was pizza and ice cream, you wouldn't be wrong. But that's not what we're talking about. I want to talk about cars and watches and the integration between the both of them and the impact that it's had on either people driving cars or people wearing watches. When I think of cars and watches, I have this immediate visual in my head where there's this old car driving around a dirt track and somebody at the end has a little stopwatch and they're timing it. It's just one of those things that come to mind. I don't know if it's real cartoon, but it's just one of those things. So cars and watches obviously go back, and people always wanted to measure the time it took them to go a particular distance, whether it was a quarter mile around a racetrack, whatever it is. So the relationship between cars and watches was inevitably natural. And when you think about the inevitability of watches and cars, there's three watches that would most likely come to most of our minds, right? It's the Heuer Monaco, the Omega Speedmaster, which is completely functional and obviously measuring time, and the granddaddy of them all, the Rolex Daytona. So I'm not going to talk about those three today because they already have the following and they're wildly popular. I want to talk about six other watches. Some you'll probably recognize, maybe one or two you don't. And they're all either functional or inspired by automobiles. Before I get into those five watches, I said five. I think I said six earlier, but before I get into those five watches, if you wouldn't mind, please, to give me a subscribe, a like, ring the bell, anything. We're starting to get a lot more views and we're starting to get some more subscribers. So I thank you all who have already done it. Appreciate you taking the time. Let's jump into it. First one on my list is probably one of the oldest cars that I liked. Old, obviously, the year and vintage. The watch was inspired by the Porsche 356. The watch is Faro and Company's 356. I particularly like the black and red one. It is a company that was started in 2014 by two brothers, I think Ari and Bob. And the watch brings out a sense of like you're looking at a gauge while you're driving. If you notice, right above the 6 o'clock marker is small seconds. The rest of the dial obviously is finished in black with a white perimeter. The case itself is stainless steel polished, and it's 43 millimeters in diameter, about 11 millimeters in thickness, 52 and a half lug to lug. Comes on a very nice Italian leather strap. The crystal is a sapphire crystal. When you look at it, I know I had said earlier, it brings up this visual like you're looking at your dashboard, like the gauges on your dashboard. It has this RPM-ish feel to it, like you're ready to red line at any given point because of the 2 o'clock, the 3 o'clock marker. The movement on the watch is an ETA 6498. It's a hand wound movement. This is and if you look at the crown really quickly, it's big enough where you're not going to have problems, obviously, with the hand winding. I could probably talk about this watch all day just because of my affinity for Porsche and the Porsche 356. But take a look at it for yourself. I think this retails somewhere in the $900 to $1,000 range. You're getting a lot of value for this price range. In my opinion, the movement, the hand wound movement is very nice. The sapphire crystal, the polished bezel, the see-through back with a little ornate details to it. It's just a fun watch to wear. This next watch, most of us have probably seen. It is perhaps, in my opinion, one of the, if not the best value chronograph under $500. In a lot of cases, probably close to $400 or less. It's the Seiko Prospect Speed Timer Solar Chronograph. The reference number is SSC 813, I believe. So a little bit about this watch. It came to fruition, I think, originally in 1964. And you can tell by the details that it is completely functional. If you look at it, the dimensions, the diameter on this is 39 millimeters, thickness is 13 millimeters, and the lug-to-lug length is 45.5 millimeters. It measures 60 minutes of elapsed time in 1/5 second increments, includes a split time function. It's solar cell powered by any light source, so no batteries needed to change at all. It's completely self-sufficient. It offers 6-month power reserve when fully charged. It's framed by a black tachometer bezel with white dial. It has a very distinctive sandblasted texture as well. It features 3 sub-black dials, including a 24-hour indicator as well as a date, calendar, and it has a curved anti-reflective sapphire crystal. This is a rugged timepiece. This is a do anything, anywhere, any kind of timepiece. It's waterproof to 100 meters. I mean, you can really do anything with it, but to me, it stuck it out as a no-brainer to add to my list. Just functional, the quality, and the history of Seiko. They just make great timepieces. And specifically at this price range, I don't think you can find a better piece. This next watch speaks to me in ways I can't even begin to describe. I can see myself sitting in the back of my parents' station wagon in the late 70s, and my dad messing around with the radio dial, the 8-track player. I mean, this thing just harkens back to my childhood. So if you're not as old as me, this might not resonate with you. It does have a cool retro design if you're into retro. What I'm about to show you is the Adawak Windows Pro, particularly the one in green. Let's take a look. So a little bit about Adawak. I hope I'm pronouncing this right, by the way. It was founded by Johnny Dang in 2019. They have, prior to 2019, his team has accumulated probably roughly about 10 years worth of watch design experience. And with the rollout of Adawak, they have earned a number of awards. They've won the German IF Design Award, the American Muse Design Award, including the Platinum Award. There is a lot of experience that comes into play here as it relates to design and quality. Let's look at some of the details and design of this watch. The case is 42 millimeters, 42.5 millimeters in diameter, lug to lug 45. The thickness is 13. The case has a 3-layer colored bezel. As you can see, it's pretty cool looking the way they incorporated the color in the bezel. And it's topped off with a scratch resistant sapphire crystal. This is waterproof to 30 meters. So obviously you're not taking this swimming, or you're not taking it diving specifically. And the movement inside is it's a redesigned Miyota 8000 series. It has a power reserve of 42 hours. And if you take a look at the intricacies of the dial, you'll notice that, again, like I said, this will harken back to your days as a child, if you're my age, or if you're into retro. It just gives you that I'm playing with the radio dial in my car feel. It's pretty neat. And that's why I like the green. The green kind of throws me back to that day and age, if you will, that 1970s ugly green that isn't ugly on this watch. It's actually you'll notice on the watch, the hour indices are at the top and the minutes are at the bottom. And when you obviously go through your day from 1 to 12, it looks like you're moving down the radio dial, left to right, right to left, etc. This is, in my opinion, probably one of the coolest watches on this list. I don't know. It really brings me back to a time and age where my life was simpler. And there certainly is this feel to it that reminds me of just sitting in a car and taking a family trip somewhere. So not only does this watch give you either really cool retro vibes, or maybe gives you a memory of sitting in an old car somewhere at some point in your life, You could do it for less than $700. This watch retails somewhere around 600, $650. You can't go wrong with it. This watch for sure is a conversation starter. People will ask you what it is, what's it do. It's a cool looking watch. When you look at it, it gives you that extra special something. For the price, for the quality, hell, just for the design, this is a fun watch to have. Where do I go from that watch? It seems like anything else would be almost meh. Well, in comes the Autodroma, specifically the Velaluga. And let me tell you a little bit about Autodroma. So the company was founded, I think in 2011 is when they really first started making watches. Bradley Price was an auto enthusiast who couldn't find a watch that blended automobile culture into it. So he came up with Autodroma. I gravitated towards the Velaluga. Autodroma has a number of different designs. They have chronographs, they have digital watches, but the Velaluga spoke to me. I think it was designed, actually, I know it was designed with the old 1960s tachometer in mind, right? Look at it. It redlines somewhere around 4,000 RPMs. After that, you can't tell what time it is. So you're kind of, no, I'm kidding. Anyway, it's a clean looking watch. It's minimalistic. It has the date window near the 3 o'clock indices. It's just a fun watch to have on your wrist. And not to mention, it is a quality piece as well. It has the Miyota 8315 automatic movement. It has a 60-hour power reserve. It's a dome sapphire crystal. It's 40 millimeters in diameter, 12 millimeters in thickness. This is a racing car inspired watch through and through. If you have a chance, check it out. There's something about this watch to me that just jumps off your wrist when you wear it. Obviously, it goes with just about everything. You could dress it up, you could dress it down. And this, again, is another piece that, in my opinion, combines automobile racing and watches perfectly. And it won't break the bank because it comes in right around $550 to $600. Go check it out. You won't be sorry you did. So last but not least is another one. I'm actually starting to see a pattern here with my selections today. A lot of the stuff that I picked is kind of retro-ish, which I think goes hand in hand with racing because I think we really are inspired by the retro racing style. Me personally, I don't know, maybe I'm just old, but the next one I like is the Yema. It's the Rally Graph Mecha Quartz, but this is a little bit different. This is the reverse pan. Let me tell you a little bit about Yema. Yema has a history that goes back to 1948. It was founded by Henry Louis Belmont. And obviously he graduated top of his class as a watchmaker, and I can get into a lot of the details, but let's just really get into the watch and some of the features and functions. Really the look. This is what this whole vibe is for me today, is the look as well as the practicality or the functionality of the watches. So let's jump into the Rally Graph. The Yema Rally Graph chronograph is really reminiscent of the vintage race car dashboards, if you will. The sub-registers of the hour and minute, the Rally Graph signature emblem at the bottom, the checkered flag. I mean, that's been around since the 60s. It is a classic design. It's a very interesting piece in the sense that it combines affordability. I mean, this thing comes in sub $400. It's powered by Seiko's VK64 hybrid. So the diameter of the case is 39 millimeters, lug to lug is 48 millimeters, and the thickness is 11. It wears very nice on the wrist, super comfortable. This vintage inspired bicompacts it's impeccable. The fit and finish on it's really nice. The matte aluminum tachometer bezel is super sharp. it just sticks out. I prefer it on the leather strap. It does have an option to get on a mesh bracelet. Uh, I, I don't know if you could really go wrong with this pick as well. I know it's quartz. Some of you will like it, some of you won't. I like the watch. I like the way it looks. I like the vintage appeal of it. I love the fit and finish of it. And for the price, I don't think you could really go wrong with this. Again, it's just my opinion. Check it out. So if you wouldn't mind, leave some comments below as well. These are just 5 that I picked based on my experience with them. And if there's some other watches, maybe sub $1,000 that you think have a real racing car vibe appeal, put a link below or send them in the comments. That would be great. Please, again, don't forget to like and subscribe if you will. You guys are helping me out tremendously. I appreciate you taking the time. Until the next one, see ya.